All right, I want to share a kingdom principle with you that is found in Matthew chapter 13, starting with verse 24. And it says this: He put another parable before them, saying, The kingdom of heaven may be compared to a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while his men were sleeping, his enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat and went away. So when the plants came up and bore grain, then the weeds appeared also. And the servants of the master of the house came and said to him, Master, did you not sow good seed in your field? How then does it have weeds? He said to them, An enemy has done this. So the servants said to him, Then do you want us to go and gather them? But he said, No, lest in gathering the weeds you root up the wheat along with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. And at harvest time I will tell the reapers, Gather the weeds first and bind them in bundles to be burned, but gather the wheat into my barn. All right, so I think that there's a lot in this parable. There's a lot of great things that we can talk about, but just 2 points really stood out to me. And the first one was this: you have a real enemy that is trying to sow weeds amongst your wheat, or amongst your harvest, amongst your promise, amongst the things that God has for you in life. You have a real enemy. And I think it's very interesting how this passage talked about it in this way, that it's like sowing weeds in the middle of the night. Like, these are things that sometimes may not be apparent. You don't know until things start to sprout. And so what I immediately think about with this is our thoughts, is our beliefs, and how our thoughts dictate what we do, and our actions and our habits, and the way we see things and the way we see God and all of this kind of stuff. So first and foremost, I think it's important to know that you have an enemy, and to know that he's trying to sow weeds amongst your harvest. He's trying to choke it out and kill it. Okay, it's a move that he's trying to destroy what God has for you in your life. So that's the first thing, knowing that we have that enemy that is trying to do that. And that's why the word says to renew our minds daily. Okay. And the second thing that I think this parable is really about is how he actually handles the situation. He doesn't go and remove the weeds immediately. He waits until they're full grown. And then there is a time to make a decision. There's a distinction to be made when they're full grown. And I think that for many of us, that there are areas in our lives where the weeds have become full grown. And now it's time to make a decision. Are you going to allow that to contaminate your harvest, what God has for you? Or are you going to make a choice to cut that down, to put that over here, and to burn that, and to focus on all of the harvest that God has for you? Man, I think this is a powerful principle for all of us in getting breakthrough in so many different areas, and continuing to move forward in God, and continuing to see the promises that God has for us. Man, just remember, you have an enemy who's trying to sow some weeds amongst your thoughts, amongst your beliefs. Renew your mind daily, and understand that there's going to be a time where a decision needs to be made. What decision are you going to choose? How are you going to handle those 2 areas? And those 2 areas will be determined by the fruit that they produce.